And welcome, Dr. Jason Dean, BraveTV, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge. I'm gonna chalk a win up to Chris today. You win today. You win, sir. Welcome to the show. You know why you win?
No, I was just going to ask you, why did I win?
There is absolutely God, and I don't mind admitting it because I can be wrong. Don't worry, I'm wrong every day. But I hate changing over technology stuff. So I think there definitely must be a bug in Ecamm, and it must have happened in the last couple of years because I have done everything to my computer that I could possibly do. And the reason why we're running behind this morning is because it's something with the camera. Like my camera keeps freezing, and no matter what I've done, like this processor was fast. I bought this like a year ago. It's a fast processor, but it goes to and I'm like, wait, the camera. It's my camera too. And then every once in a while it throws up. Do you want to like bring up your other camera? Which I don't even ask it to do that. And I'm like, this has got to be some sort of software bug because it's been screwing with you. It screws with Nicolette when she's on, and I'm like, oh my god, like. And I've always personally loved Ecamm. It's just a me thing. And it doesn't happen as much when I go to like I do webinars with StreamYard behind the scenes, just like straight webinars to people. And I shouldn't say never. I've had very little problems with it over the last probably several months. Like maybe a freeze up here or there. It constantly happens on this one. So
You
you
actually
win.
just froze up there.
So you win. I have to do some auditing of the Ecamm software and see what I'm going to do with that because it's kind of where everything is loaded. How are you, man?
Busier than a one-legged cowboy in an ass-kicking competition.
I love it. I'm having a problem with planet Earth right now. I'm so pissed at like I'm as I call it, for lack of better words, the moral ethical lack of backbone in this, not just America. Like this, it's I'm so exhausted of watching degeneracy win, and then like obviously I'm not watching the hearings right now, but just like to have liberal Democrats. I like Pete Hegseth. I mean, I don't agree with probably on every single thing, but that's life. I mean, we never agree on our families with everything. But overall, he's obviously the most phenomenal pick we could have for this position. And you have liberals up there, like, first of all, just ludicrous, stupid questions. And then you have Kim Kardashian saying she had a month to pack her fucking house. I'm like, dude, I'm like over it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, did you happen to see the picture of the goofy protester in a pink suit? It's a guy
No,
with his
I
wife.
haven't seen any of it today, just up until this moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my note on it here. So we did 5 shows on Hegseth,
Okay.
all kinds of Navy SEALs in particular. We even did one that was all women members of the military who support him
Okay.
and know him personally and say all the misogyny stuff and everything. It's just a bunch of BS. But there's I've got a group text going with a bunch of the SEALs who are actually there: Bill Brown, Robert Sweetman, Jason Redmond, like some really really big names in the SEAL community. And somebody posted a picture of the guy in his pink jacket with his sign protesting Pete Hegseth. So Robert Sweetman actually went over to talk to him, and I'm trying to find the comment from him
Let
here.
me see if I can
I've got it
find
in my
even.
show notes for tonight, but
Oh, here
let
we
me
go.
find
Hold on.
it.
I'll bring up the picture for you. I don't have comments, but I'll bring it here. Oops, no, that's the wrong
So
one. Hold on.
yeah,
Here
I've
we
got
go.
some stuff for you on this. This is directly from Robert Sweetman, who's there. The guy in the pink jacket's name is Tig, and his wife's name is Medea. And they said if Pete spoke with them even for 1 minute, they would be on his side, even if they didn't agree. They would appreciate the communication. I spoke with them for 45 minutes, and they don't want America in constant wars. And I assured them that Pete and the rest of us SEALs here don't want continuous wars either. So that came from Robert Sweetman. Let me see here. That time was, golly, uh, that was at 11:36 that he
Okay.
sent me that. And within a matter of minutes after that, by the way, they were heckling those two people. The guy and husband and wife were heckling whoever was speaking. and they were escorted out of the chambers. But I mean, it's all of the pushback against Pete Hegseth is because he represents everything that our military should be. So here's an interesting word, Jason. Every single episode that we did, which is 5 of them, with some very esteemed military people, without any conversations in advance, always came down to one word: lethality. Our military serves one purpose: lethality. Everything else around it is bullshit and it's got to go. So, for example, there are reportedly 15,000 mentally ill transgenders in our military going through one stage of a transition to whatever sort of
Yep.
thing. Not one of those people is a deployable asset. So, if they're not a deployable asset, how do they
Meaning
lend
they mentally,
themselves?
physically cannot carry out actions, what was needed to be done. They're just not, they're not dependable. And it's not because we believe something against them. They're just physically, mentally not able to carry something out, correct?
That plus we have an SOP that basically states doesn't matter what medications you are on, if you can't be deployed to the battlefield without your medications, you are not deployable.
Okay,
Period. Full
that
stop.
makes sense. So there's physical, mental, spiritual, legitimate medical reasons these people can't be deployed.
Just for argument's sake, I take benazepril, right, ACE inhibitor for blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be deployable even if everything
Right.
else was good, because if I lost access to my meds, then I would
Yeah.
be a hindrance as opposed
Totally.
to helping out from a lethality
You're a
standpoint.
liability instead of an asset. We can't have that
Correct.
when we're dealing with what we're dealing with at that level.
And here's another number for you as well that came out in these conversations. For every person who's on the end of a rifle in that theater of war, there are 10 support people behind them. You can't even be one of those support people. You are a non-deployable asset when it comes to sending you to a theater of war, whether you're a support personnel or you're the actual person on the front line engaging the enemy. So it begs the question, why are we doing this? And the answer is clear. This is the asymmetrical, irregular warfare that's being waged on us by our enemies and has been for decades. It's China is known for years. They're not going to land on our shores and conquer America, so they have to divide and conquer from
Right.
inside. And this is just one more strategy on their part to divide us. And unfortunately, the weak-minded amongst us have, you know, latched on to this whole transgender bullshit. You got to remember, as corrupt as the World Health Organization is, up until 2018, transgenderism, body dysmorphia was classified as a mental illness. Why is it not classified as a mental illness? Because they decided to change tactics and use it against us to do this divide and conquer thing. So at the end of the day, Pete Hegseth represents toxic masculinity.
Right.
And unlike the left, the rest of us feel that we need a whole lot more toxic masculinity. I don't know if you saw the clips on Pete, but we've war gamed out what happens with America versus China and multiple different theaters of war around the world. And in Pete's own words, we have a perfect record of losing every single time.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
and why is that? Because we've taken our eye off the ball, right? We've put all this, DEI bullshit into the military where it doesn't belong. Saturday night, like I said, I had 4 very high profile military women on: Amy Forsyth, Teresa Carpenter, and uh, every last one of them stated the exact same things. If I am incapable of passing the physical standards to become a SEAL or whatever the role may be, then I shouldn't be given that job. The standard should not be lowered. So there's all kinds of other things that go with that as well, by the way, where there's been studies done inside the military. When you deploy women to combat roles with men, whether or not that woman is even capable of passing the physical stuff, and there's always, pardon me, going to be outliers who do that. The next part to it is that it complicates the battlefield. So it's programmed into us as men that if we see a woman in distress, to go to her aid. And so it complicates the theater of war as well. There's just a whole bunch of reasons why um, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for women to be in those roles. And when you have the top women in the military coming to Pete Hegseth's defense and saying we shouldn't be Navy SEALs, for example, we should be doing these other things, That's pretty powerful. The left doesn't want to hear anything about it because, I mean, you're fond of quoting Netflix. I do it all the time. 120-pound girl, 110-pound girl knocks out a 250-pound guy with one punch. Not going to happen. Doesn't happen. They, it's why the undercard fights. When you go to Vegas and you watch, you go live to watch the boxing. The undercard is absolutely boring as all get out. Where you get these lightweights and flyweights and
Right.
welterweights. They smack each other 600 times during a 12-round fight, but they don't have the power to knock each other out. The same thing applies to a 110-pound woman versus a 250-plus-pound man, especially a fit 250-pound man. It's like a fly, you know. It's like go
Yeah.
away.
It's I routinely joke because I was told by family friends. It's funny growing up. I'm a Libra. I was born in October, and I'm the scales of justice. And I joke, if I wasn't a doctor, Chris, I could always be a lawyer. I said I probably would have been a lawyer if I wasn't a doctor, right? I could literally, I could objectively argue both sides if I really wanted to. Not that I want to, right? But this female military thing, like, I can see both sides of the story. I don't necessarily agree with one side of it. I would lean towards another side. I would lean towards men being, in armed services. But I can see why this is such a hot topic. I think it's going to become very clear once Pete is approved and brought in, because I think everything's going to change dramatically over the next couple of years, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you've got rats running around right now trying to delete every social media post and email where they spoke in favor of DEI. I'm talking people inside of our
Yeah.
military right now. You got Mark Milley concerned that he's going to be recalled so he can be court-martialed. I have it on authority that that's highly likely to happen, and that's directly from Michael Letts, by the way. So Michael Letts is the guy from
So they think
Invent.
Millie will be court-martialed.
Yep,
Dude, that's
yep.
pretty. If
Okay.
he's going to get court-martialed, oh my goodness, I could see a lot of people lower than him being. And when I say lower, I mean like Congress.
Yeah. Um, so Michael Letts is one of only two people that I've ever been on the phone with who said, "Hey, Chris, I got to call you back. President Trump is calling me." So that's the level that Michael Letts is at, and heads are going to roll over the Afghanistan debacle as they should. And it just so happens that many of the people involved in the Afghanistan debacle are also the biggest proponents of this DEI bullshit. We have to get back to MEI, merit, excellence, and intelligence, not just in our military, but our corporate world as well. And it's funny because Robbie Starbuck is the guy who's been on the vanguard of exposing these DEI failures in corporate America. And as soon as Robbie Starbuck gets onto one of these corporations, it's typically a matter of days before they say, you know what, we're dropping all the DEI stuff, we're going to MEI instead. And as a businessman, you know this. If you were required to hire people based on anything but merit, excellence, and intelligence, how successful would you be as a business? Not very.
No.
It's not complicated, man. It The problem is the conflation between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. They are
Mm-hmm.
not the same thing. So everybody should of course, everybody should have the same opportunity. But if you can't perform, you don't deserve the job. If you want to see
Merit.
an ultimate example of DEI in action, have a look at what's going on in California with the wildfires.
Uh, before you rant on that, because I want you to. I cannot believe how many calls for resignation there are. Resignation? How about treason? How about like jail immediately? You know what I
Well,
mean?
for sure, the things they've done are criminal.
Right.
It, and they're trying to push back against the facts. So somebody sent me a link to Google Earth, by the way, and you can have a look at the Palisades water reservoir. It has not been full since 2009. There was a little bit of construction going on 2010 and 2011. It's been empty ever since then. And Newsom wants to deflect, but the fact of the matter is that environmentalists convinced him to not allow the fresh water from Northern California flow to Southern California because smelt fish is too cold for them. and therefore it would kill them. But are
Right.
you ready for this? Nobody
What?
has spotted a smelt in the state of California in over 10 years.
I didn't know that.
So part of this is Hanlon's razor. You know, Hanlon's razor states never attribute something to malice that can be easily explained by incompetence. So you have Hanlon's razor in effect, but you also have all of these wacky socialist policies. And let's be clear here. These people aren't stupid.
Right.
They didn't come up with these wacky programs because they're idiots. They came up with them because they're in pursuit of an agenda. This is by design. Pretty crazy stuff. Have a look at the Smart LA 2028 blueprint. Okay.
I have
So
not
this is a
read through the whole thing, but I know I'm aware of it.
Yeah, so it's a blueprint to turn LA into a smart slash 15-minute city, right? Well, when you look at major pieces of that plan, guess where the fires fall? These 5 or 6 major fires. They fall in areas that are slated to be completely redeveloped per Smart LA 2028, which is it. All that is just a stepping stone to Agenda 2030, which is the WEF's globalist, blah blah blah. Uh, Again, some of this is incompetence, but a lot of it's by design and plan. Then on top of what you have last night, Joe Biden going on air with Kamala Harris saying that Californians impacted by the wildfires are going to get a one-time payment of
I saw that.
$770. Yeah, but we give billions to Ukraine. So how do you square that? I mean, again, there's incompetences at play for sure. He's got dementia, and he was an asshole before he even was even showing signs of dementia. But our federal government, this illegally installed administration, have been under the direct control of our enemies. It's the only way you can score or square, I should say, them making these types of decisions. And it's why they tried to kill Donald Trump, why they will continue to try and kill Donald Trump. He's not the Messiah, he's not perfect, but he does put America before others. And the goal of the others, the NWO, the globalists, the cabal, whatever you want to call it, is to take us out because, I used to just, it would make me shake my head every time I would go to an NRA meeting as a VIP, as a guest of the Washington Times, because the CEO, former CEO, was a friend of mine. And I would shake my head every time I would hear Wayne Lapierre say the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment, rah, rah, rah. And I was like, bullshit. I come from big tech. And big tech, big media, big brother, they nuked the First Amendment 20 years ago. The Second Amendment is not the firewall between us and losing the First Amendment. The firewall is between globalism and freedom. That's what the Second Amendment is.
Totally.
Second Amendment goes down, America goes down, globalism wins, end of story. That's why they're trying to destroy us so much. We're the only country left that can defend themselves. And this bullshit of Joe Biden say uh, an AR-15 isn't going to help you against our F-15s. You know, okay. So tell me what happened in Afghanistan. Tell me what happened in Vietnam. Both instances, you have tribal countries that essentially defeated us because we didn't have the wherewithal to follow it through, but defeated us with crappy AK-47s that are good for hitting everything around your target. So just do the numbers. I think we've covered this before. 3% of colonists stood up against the King of England over attacks on the T, right? Okay, 3% of Americans today would be 12, 13 million people, okay? Our military has been decimated under this administration. We
Yep.
had 3.1, 3.2 million active duty military under Trump. That number is now down to 2.4 million. We had around 1.2 million law enforcement officers. We're at 660,000. That's a current number, like as of today, right now. So most of those people, to be quite honest, are on our side, America's side. But let's just say it's 50-50. All right. So now you're looking at somewhere around 13, 14 million good guys versus 1.5 million bad guys. Doesn't matter if they got F-15s, doesn't matter what they've got. You can't overcome those types of numbers. So when you hear this bluster from people like Biden, Obama, etc., it's because they know how fragile the system is.
Right.
And so they have to fool people into buying into their agenda as opposed to doing it by force, because they can't win by force. And we're not advocating revolution, civil war, violence, or anything like that whatsoever. But if push comes to shove, they know the system is fragile and they don't stand a chance. That's all there is to it.
How fast? How fast? You know enough people. Let's say he's sworn in. Let's say this goes exactly the way we want to. Best case scenario, obviously. I've heard in under a year, this could all be transformed into exactly what we want. Like, how fast do you think they could literally transform defense, military, armed forces, etc., everything, like, into, I'm not saying perfect, but an ideal scenario? How fast do you think they could transform it?
25 years.
25 years. I don't like that answer.
The truth.
I've heard like 18 months or less.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
No?
You have a whole generation of officials that are buried deep into our military, every level of bureaucracy, and many of those people are going to be successful at kind of going undercover, as if, they're not going to be held accountable for what they've done as far as these crazy, socialist communist plans are concerned, and DEI and everything else. It will take 25 years to root this out of our country. That's the reality of the situation. So we can make some big strides in the
Yeah.
first 12 months, but eradication will take an entire generation.
Well, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it took 100 plus years to put it in. So in reality, 25 years, I guess, is not, I mean, I say 100 years just because that's kind of the number we've always worked with when America was like taken over. But
Well, yeah, when was America taken over? When Woodrow Wilson was elected. This
depending on,
goes back
my number has
this goes
always
back
been
to
1871, but that's, other people have different numbers.
we haven't had legitimate elections in this country since 1913.
I'd agree
And
with that.
and so the NWO, the cabal, whatever you want to call it, have been pulling the strings. So we're talking, JP Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
Rockefellers,
Yep.
Rothschilds, et cetera, et
Yep.
cetera. You got JFK overcame the cheating, they killed him. You got Trump overcame the cheating in 2016. They impeached him, they tried to kill him, so on and so forth. Uh, if you look at the election numbers, so if you look at Obama's first and second elections, then you look at Hillary Clinton, then you look at Joe Biden, and you look at Kamala Harris. All of them got somewhere around, say, 66, 67, 68 million votes, okay?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Joe Biden mysteriously got 81 million votes in 2020. Where did the 13, 14, 15 million votes go? I know exactly where the votes went. So I am not directly connected to Dennis Montgomery, but a whole bunch of people I'm directly connected with are. Dennis Montgomery was the CIA asset who wrote the Hammer and Scorecard software that the CIA used for years to install governments in other countries that they wanted installed. Okay. It was used against us in 2020. It fabricated about 15 million votes out of thin air. So now, come to 2024, Kamala Harris back to 67, 68 million votes. It begs the question again, where did the 13, 14, 15 million votes go? They didn't exist in the first place. And I can take this a step further now that the election's over. This is some stuff I couldn't even talk about in a phone call. There was a back door put into Hammer and Scorecard
Mm-hmm.
by Dennis Montgomery and his team. It was used to access the voting machines in 2024. There was no cheating on behalf of Donald Trump, but what it did is every time the machines tried to take a vote for Donald Trump and convert it to Kamala Harris, every time one ballot was scanned and it was meant to output 10, 15, 20, 100 votes for Kamala, all of that stuff was stopped dead in its tracks. And that's how we ended up with the result that we ended up. So, again, we haven't had legit elections since Woodrow Wilson. This is other than a couple where we've overcome it. We overcame it this time around, not just because of Hammer and Scorecard being configured the way that it was. We also did it because we made the election too big to rig. There were 3,400 of us working at the behest of Jason Wilson from voteforamerica.org to stop telling our audiences, make sure you go vote for Donald Trump on November 5th. And instead to say, take one person with you to vote
Right.
with you on November 5th who doesn't normally vote. That's what made the election too big to rig. And it was
Right.
Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, all the way down to people like you and me and even lower. So
Good stuff, everybody.
big week next week. A whole bunch of us from the SD crew will be in Vegas for SHOT Show. We will
Cool.
be there days ahead and days after. And we've got some pretty spectacular things coming up. And tomorrow night, by the way, we've got Tony Blauer and Michael Jacko on to discuss situational awareness and self-defense. It's going to be a stellar conversation. But other than that, appreciate your time, Doc.
Love it, brother.
God bless America.
You as well. Chris Heaven, Survival Dispatch, survivaldispatch.com. Always good info. He is one of my very, very highly trusted individuals in this. Never bad info. Now, I want everyone to know I've had a wonderful day, and Nicolette's going to come on here and try to say that I've had a bad day and say that I...
I'm the voice of positivity today.
I'm very positive. I did rant though when I came home. My wife was here, and I went on a 15-minute. That helped.
Sometimes it just helps to get it out. Like last week, I wrote you a long message, and I just got it out, and I feel better enough to come on the show 2 days in a row when I said I'd take a break. But you know,
I am the scales of justice, and I don't do well when I just need good people winning. I need good people. Like I need good. I don't want to say I need good. It sounds so weird. I don't actually know how to put it in words. In the fact that, and this probably started a month ago. It started kind of like amping up. And I'm so tired of this dark world, and I don't want to say winning, but because obviously it's coming to light. Like I can bitch and moan about Kardashian saying that she's had a month to get out. Obviously that's part of an awakening because she accidentally said it, someone told her she had to say it. Like obviously it wakes people up and go, wait a second, what do you mean you had a month to get out? My problem is not that she said it. My problem is that these people continue. Like, it's kind of like me having to, I'm over here trying to prove a $50 receipt while Al Sharpton goes with $100 million in back taxes. Does that make sense? That's the shit that sets me off.
I get what you're saying. And I honestly, I find humor in stuff like this. Not the fact that you were struggling with this, but the way that me and you play off of each other. Because I had this very same downward mindset last week where I'm just like, fuck it all, everything's dark, what the fuck are we even living for if it means this dark world and all this. Literally, that's, you can ask Dr. Dean. He goes, so what are you gonna do, just humbly sit by? And I was like, I don't know, but this ain't it.
No, seriously, it's you know what's funny is I used to be told not to blow up, right? And it's I grew up in sports, so
let it out.
You know who I most, and you know what's funny? So behind the scenes, and we don't say this much on the show because we don't feel like listening to the bullshit from people who want to judge everybody. In the last month, Nicolette, I have watched more college and NFL football than I have in a decade. And I resonate the most with coaches. When coaches, and this was the same in baseball, when coaches and managers or players lose their mind. And it's funny because I used to always be told, well, be calm and I'm like, no, because the problem with calmness is most people are staying calm and they're holding it all in. Versus if you see an injustice in front of you, this is probably why I don't coach, because I would blow up too much. I have that. You are a coach, though. No. I know, but do you you probably don't remember this, or don't know because I don't know if you watched this, but back in the day for the Yankees, there was Paul O'Neill. Paul O'Neill would get so pissed because Joe Torre was the opposite. Joe Torre was just calm and even keel. Paul O'Neill would come in. He would take a baseball bat and he would start fucking just going at the water cooler. He would say, to the point where he'd just break the bat. And people would be like, what is wrong with him? He's crazy. Paul O'Neill was a warrior, and he was the most tempered person in the world because he got his shit out.
I was probably the age of 18 or 19 when I got kicked out of my brother's basketball game, just sitting on the thing.
I get kicked out of games. That's why I can't coach, because I would get kicked out of games.
Yeah. It is what it is. And I completely understand your frustrations. That's not at all what I was trying to get my point across earlier. But I came on because, one, I've been watching the Pete Hegseth stuff.
We have till 1 o'clock because I have to run to a fluoride city council meeting.
Surprise, unpopular opinion. I don't think women should have any combat spot in the military. I think they should.
I actually agree. I see both sides, but I lean towards keep women out.
They can be pencil pushers. They can be
administrative, like strategic,
whatever.
Mentally strategic. But get the fuck. I don't want. I actually respect women too much to have them being harmed in action.
So that's one of the biggest things. And this happens with the firefighters and stuff as well. I am not saying that some women aren't capable of meeting the standards of the military, nor are they capable of doing the job. I mean, there's some butch women out there that can carry just as much as men. Marjorie Taylor Greene can do more push or pull-ups than my husband can at this point. Like, no offense.
And I have no problem with. I don't think I have any problem with women in Congress. So if you want to make a change, go into public service, right? But but we don't need I'm actually really annoyed in the last couple of days of this fire, not because of you, but of this fire chief being let off the hook because she made it known. I don't think she should be in that position.
So let me explain or a few reasons why women should not be in combat. Because one, your innate want to protect the woman is a hindrance.
Correct.
If you have
the first thing a real man does, whether it's an emergency or war or anything else, is you look for the weakest, and I don't mean that in a negative way. You look for the person that must be protected, and you look for women and children.
Yes. So, take, for example, my husband's infantry. For people that don't know, he was infantry in the Marines. You know the movies where the people are busting down the doors and sweeping the buildings and stuff? That is infantry. So, put that in your mind. If a woman is infantry, I say bomb hit or something, and the building starts collapsing, and it's just the two of you clearing a building of terrorists you're being shot at. I can't promise that the woman's going to be able to carry that man out compared to the guy is going to defend and try carry the woman out. That's a hindrance to me. That is. Two, other countries, and I want to say that lightly, other beliefs, and I am not putting a specific, I don't believe that it's a religion that does this. A woman is a trophy if you are to capture her. If you are to capture her, if you are to kill her, because if you kill a woman, you're killing your future society.
So I know it's like kind of a weird thing to say because people, and I believe America in general, even patriots that are watching this, I believe most of them have gone soft, right? I'll include everyone watching this, all of us, but most people, including patriotic Americans who just love this country, believe in the values, God-fearing people, you've gone soft. All of us have a level of it. Most of us are trying to work on it. Many are not. When they say trophy wife, I know people think that that's like a horrible, like that's such a, oh my God, even patriotic women. Well, that's. I don't
think that's a horrible thing at all.
No, Nicolette, people look down. They're like, oh, well, that you're demeaning women. You're blah, blah, blah. I'm stronger than that. I'm a patriot. No, trophy wife comes from something. Like I would consider my wife to be a very, very valuable asset in my life. She is a rock to me, right? Like when I say trophy wife, I don't mean someone who's wearing Gucci. That's not what I'm freaking talking about. I'm talking about the person who brings stability. Like I get ranty, I get venty. She is a place of stability. If I'm pissed, if I'm like upset about something, she is a place of stability. I do the same for her, right? That doesn't mean she can't be a business person. It doesn't mean she can't earn. The point is, if someone was to ask me, like, do you think you have a trophy wife? I absolutely have a trophy of a wife. Like she will be protected at all costs. But most people don't look at it, Nicolette, like that. Most people are like, you had shit. The woman is even patriotic American women. People think, no, you don't. That's so demeaning. It's not demeaning.
Mm-hmm. Most people don't look long term, anyways. A lot of things are short term. And when I say this, other countries taking out women, even if it's just one woman, is in a way a sign of taking out your future to have children, of deadening your society. The fact that you put your women on the front lines is dumb enough for you guys to not have them at home making babies. No offense, but that's the way other countries look at it. So when they're taking out a woman, they are celebrating. They are popping champagne. They 100%. Are celebrating. That is a trophy. So years ago when I was talking to Tim and I really got into the war and military and veterans and stuff, I said, you know what? I actually think I have it in me to serve if I wanted to, except for I'm a terribly picky eater and I would not be okay with like MREs. I know that sounds horrible, but like the fitness and stuff, I was like, I would love to put myself, and granted, this is when I was like 120 pounds and in the best shape of my life. But when I did that, Tim's like, I would not want you in the military. And I said, I kind of like was like, what the fuck? Why? And he goes, you have no clue the women that are raped and put into terrible positions, even by our own military. And you see it all the time. And
I can imagine. I mean, I don't think you should ever put hormones. I don't think you should ever mix hormones together. Like, why? Like, so, why would you? Like, even in colleges and everything else, like, don't put the freaking.
You saw it on House of Cards, where she got raped by the general.
Yeah, if it was up to me, Nicolette, I wouldn't put boys and girls in the same colleges.
Yeah.
Like boys' college. Girls' college. Why? You're not there to fucking party. You're not there to screw. You're there to freaking learn something.
Yeah. Yep. So, no, I totally agree. And I'll just leave this out there because I said the same about a woman president. We're fucking emotional. As I sit and had a complete mental breakdown.
I think this is where this is all going, by the way. I think exactly what you're talking about is actually what's happening. And honestly, and I think this is hilarious that this has become a quote unquote insult, but we're going back to the female belongs at home in the kitchen. And there's nothing actually wrong with that.
And I don't have it, like, I want to make this clear. I have a lot of women, especially in the Air Force, which, no offense, as a Marine wife, it's my duty to call you Chair Force. I love you, but at the same time, like, you're not the, front runners. You're not the few and proud Marines that are knocking down the doors. You're usually their escort to the scene. So I do love the women that have felt the call to serve, but I feel like women are much needed to serve in other ways for our society. So that's really what it comes down to. And then there was something else I wanted to talk about that. Chris said something about the 25 years to rebuild. I'm here to be.
I knew your number would be different than his because I remember you were one of the ones that told me you were like 6 months done.
I'm here to be excruciatingly positive on that, and this might sound like kittens and rainbows to most, but
and rainbows.
Why? Not to say we won't rebuild our military, but for what reason do we need this strong, like this go hard giant military? If there's going to be peace in the world, then why would we need that? And I know this is a hard thing for people to understand, but we say that Russia is our enemies. We say that China is our enemies. I can't tell you how many times a day I hear, "Oh, well, China's spying on us through TikTok," and "Oh, New Jersey so and so told Tucker that those drones were Chinese," and all of these other things. Why the fuck is Trump having President Xi at his inauguration? Why did he go on that tour of essentially going to be world peace? So, for what reason do we need this giant military power if we have an alliance with them?
I agree. Why is Elizabeth Warren so retarded?
Um,
You know what she said? Do you know what she said to him? Do you know what she said to him?
Probably some feminism. Stupid
She said, "Will you agree when you leave the Defense Department, you won't work for the defense industry for 10 years?" He said, "Not even something I've thought about." She goes, "So every general should wait 10 years, but not you?" He goes, "I'm not a general."
Fucking retard. You know who I absolutely can't stand is that one from Hawaii, the one that proposed.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I know. I don't remember her name. She's a retard too.
Hirono or something like that.
She's an idiot. She's a moron. These people.
She's
This is one of the reasons. One of the many countless reasons why I was so ramped up this morning is because the fact that Elizabeth Warren is in Congress, the fact that the retard from Hawaii, like this is what I can't. The fact that Kirsten Gillibrand, like I'm not going to say can't. My daughter and my wife don't like that word. I am unable to do this anymore. I am unable to live in this world where we're here. I know I'm going to send out, it's 5-dimensional warfare. Someday I don't need to be here. I get it. But right now I'm here and I'm unable to do this level of retardation where all of us are working our asses off to push everything higher. And Elizabeth Warren is still allowed to say the things she says. Gillibrand's allowed to say that, like, Biden, I just can't. How is this? This had nothing to do with forgiveness this morning. I totally, like, and I can only forgive, like, my thing with people. And typically once I start talking to them and we get through it, and we're like, oh my God, like I didn't realize you were going through that. I'm so sorry. I did judge, blah, blah, blah. I forgive, no big deal. And most forgiveness is people have to do forgiveness themselves, right? There's no rules. Yesterday, I showed you the clip, right? This is going to be really stupid, but this is what sent me over the edge.
Okay.
When a quarterback is being sacked, and he pushes his arm out and the ball flips out, and Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Bill Belichick all go to fumble. And they stop the game because it's Los Angeles. And they turn over the play and say, oh, he was throwing the ball. I just, like, I can't. I'm not able to go on with this type of society. Like, there's no rules. There's nothing. Like, it's just do whatever you want. Have whatever you want. Everything is fine. Like, be retarded. Like, go to work as a slave. Everything you want, just have it. There's no rules. Does any of this make sense? Don't get me started all over again.
I'm letting you go. You go.
Oh my God. Like, I don't know.
I told you when the fires happened that the LA was going to be put in position for the Super Bowl. Did I not?
Well,
because I'm pissed about it and I don't want to fucking go against the LA when.
But you know what's really sad?
Is on fire.
You know what's really sad? The Rams are not a good football team. So if they end up in the Super Bowl, my God, this is bad. Like, that's like, talk about having to bend every, like, did you watch the play last night? I didn't watch the game. I was watching.
I did.
I'm like, when Peyton, Eli, and Bill Belichick all go, that's atrocious.
Yeah. I don't know. Bread and circus. What do you want?
No, I get it. I get it. It's, oh my God. Does anyone else struggle with this sometimes?
Well, we all struggle with it. I struggled with it just 5 days ago, not even, and I was ready to like literally give up everything the other day. I had a panic attack where my husband had to come home from work because I called him and could barely speak on the other end of the phone, where I was literally ready to quit everything. But that in it of itself is the lesson of none of this matters. And I will say that over and over again.
It doesn't matter.
If it's football, and this is going to sound absolutely terrible because while I feel an immense amount of empathy, those people that have died in the fire or have died from the vaccine, died from anything, where we're all like, oh, this is so bad, this friendly fire, or like the people that we lose in war. Their meat suit didn't matter, and that's a hard realization to come by. I'm not saying lives don't matter.
I get it,
but it doesn't, because guess what? That person, particularly the one story with the blind cerebral palsy disabled guy, it absolutely sucks, and that's such a heart-wrenching story. But how many fucking people did that just wake up? How many fucking people are enraged by this and want accountability now? How many people are the vaccines waking up? You know what? Almost every single day on my Facebook, I belong to all these like local pages and stuff, and people are like, "Hey, give me a pediatrician that doesn't push vaccines. What is there any pediatric offices that allowed unvaccinated patients?" And I fucking love that. I fucking love seeing that. And at least on every one of them, there's like 50 plus comments, and there's a few naysayers of saying like, "Oh no, you guys should really get your vaccines, and I didn't know my office allowed this. I'm going to have a talk with my doctor." Good fucking luck. It's a fucking movement, and we're here for it. So we're making differences.
Here's what I need.
What?
That is exactly what I'm talking about. When I know it's a physical reality, the meat bodies don't matter, right? But in this unfortunate reality where we live, which is there's a train wreck going on, the Palisades are still on fire. If you want any money, because this is what a household would do. If your kid, if one of your children or my child wanted something, we'd be like, okay, there's something tied to it. You don't just get it. Like, you're going to do something to get this, and that's fine if you pull it off. So sure, you want aid, everybody out there? Okay, well, you completely mismanaged it, and on top of that, you voted in two retards. So and not just retards, like criminal retards. So therefore, if you would like a whole bunch of money, they must be removed immediately. They're going to be under investigation, which could lead to who knows what, and you're going to get an automatic re-election. And you can run the primaries however you want to. We'll do it all up, but they are gone for you to get money. If you don't want to leave, if you don't want them gone, it's all on you guys. Is that cool?
Yeah. Quite frankly, I think this is a lesson to everybody, and I'm gonna say this lightly because while I do absolutely feel for the people that lost their homes and stuff. I had a conversation with somebody who lives in California a long time ago, and we talked about her moving out of California. And I said, "Why haven't you? Like, why the fuck haven't you?" Well, and this is and I'm not calling this person out by any means. If you're listening, you know who you are. This isn't any hate towards you. She tells me, "I don't know where else my husband could work and make $300,000 plus a year." I said, "You realize I survive on 1/3 of that comfortably?"
Please.
But this is a reminder. Everybody's talking about insurance payouts and all this other stuff. How much fucking money do you think those celebrities have in the bank, in cash, in other assets? Do they even need a fucking insurance payout? Wake the fuck up that your money, your valuables are just that. They're worldly items. I don't need to bail you out. If you have good intentions in life, you'll likely be able to be just fine.
Correct. 100%. So real quick before we go, because I have to run, I am headed to Sanford, Florida, which is, I don't know, probably 20 minutes away. I don't know how this is going to go because I'm limited on time today, but apparently it's a 1:30, roughly to 2:30 meeting. And it is an agenda to get fluoride out of the water. I don't live in Sanford, Florida. I live in Longwood, Lake Mary, Florida. I was attempting to go to a Longwood meeting 2 weeks ago, and then I got a message behind the scenes from Justin Robert, who's been on the show. He'll be back on Thursday. He's helping compile and organize all this. He's like, hey, don't worry about Longwood. One, it was canceled. Two, Matt Morgan, who is the mayor right now, who's actually a former professional wrestler, cool guy. He's already like in the bag, and I don't mean that from like obviously a corruption standpoint. Like he already gets it, he knows it. So Longwood is essentially like we don't have to do a lot of work on Longwood because they get it, right? He goes, let's work on other ones. Again, I don't live in Sanford. I'll go up there. I may not get to speak. I don't know. There may be one person. There might be 1,000 people. I'm not going with any research because I haven't taken the time to put stuff together and I've been on the run. So I'm literally going to go up there and go, hey, if you want research, there's plenty out there. Just Google it. Here's just the nuts and bolts of it. I won't drink this water. This water was used for lots of nefarious things over the years. There will be other people that bring in science and everything else, but you can literally Google that right now. The point of this is doing what we can do, right? Like this is taking fluoride out of the water systems in Florida. We've been having them in cities all over the place, and Florida is like boom, 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 boom. All of them are falling in line getting fluoride out. So I just say that to say,
we're going to have 2 local action shows this week then. You have Thursday, you have Justin coming on. Yep. I have my old boss coming on probably Friday because I wanted to talk to him. He's a business owner, and his businesses are service industry. So 2 bars and a pizza restaurant, and Michigan's changing a bunch of laws that essentially the second that Trump said no tax on tips, they said, okay, we'll just take tipping away altogether and force minimum wage, which is going to kill small businesses. Not to mention Michigan is passing, they're talking about it today. But Dr. Dean, how would you like if your workers that you hire were allowed to do no call, no show for up to 3 days in a row without any repercussions?
Please.
You are not allowed to fire them.
Please.
That's what Michigan has in the works. So it's
we are a right to work state. I can fire you on the spot for anything and not give you any reason for it. Yeah, that's how we like it. Yeah.
So I will be you'll be talking about the fluoride stuff, and I'll be talking about all this Michigan stuff on Friday, most likely.
I love it. Good job. Thanks for talking me off a ledge this morning. Well, yeah, combination. God, we all have our moments, don't we? Everybody, do the best you can. Love, serve, and help. It is not easy. I will tell you that. We all struggle on a daily basis with it. I have my problems with society. Trust me. Festivus. It's Festivus miracle if we can all get through this. Love, serve, and help, everybody. For Nicolette, it's Dr. Dean. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Health, freedom, knowledge. This is Brave TV.
We actually have to